Hey guys, this is Toby Ryan here. I'm playing with the Master Sessions Ethnic Drums by Heavyocity. This is one of their latest collections, and it is pretty fantastic what they've done here. Let's go ahead and open up the browser tab here so you can kind of see if you're new to this particular type of instrument. We can load up through the Files browser here, navigate to your Master Sessions folder, and inside there you'll find your collections. Let's go ahead and open up the loops here. I'll show you both of these, the kits and the loops. Open up the instruments. And we have loop menus, single loops, and what they've done here is actually given you over 400 individual NKI instruments here that you can play and have tons of different stems and audio samples and loops. And the first one we're playing with here is the all full loops. And to further illustrate what this is and kind of understand here, let's open up the keyboard so you can see how they're mapped across on the keys. Awesome, so that's pretty cool. And what I'm playing with here is the signature punish knob. And this allows you to add some punch and drive and grit in your face and just really punish the audio. And add some extra dynamics and stuff. And you can actually control these with your MIDI controller. Every single one of these knobs, you can just right click, learn MIDI, and immediately turn your MIDI controller knob or slider and have complete control over every single one of these knobs that you see here. So as you're playing, so that's pretty awesome. And if you don't want a knob, you can just right click and remove it just as easily. Let's go ahead and look at the twist tab here. This is some movement you saw me playing with earlier. And this adds a little bit of movement. You can watch this little eye as it bounces back and forth, and it represents the width of how it's twisting the audio. You can even adjust the rate and the tone of how this behaves. So you can add some movement and different interesting textures to your audio and stems here. Some other things they provide are delays and modulation, even distortion. And let me go ahead and add a quick high-end sizzle here so you can kind of get a feel for the distortion. There we go, let's dial it in, let's activate it, and here we go. So you can actually add some extra drive and some extra grit to your audio here. It's excellent addition. You even have reverb that you saw me playing with earlier. You have tons to choose from. Large plates, short plates, arenas and churches and chapels, pavilions, tons to choose from. Let's go ahead and choose chapel. I'm going to adjust the size just a little bit and the delay and adjust the mix and kind of blend it in. You can kind of see how deep the chapel goes. Let's go ahead and go into the surreal. Awesome, so that sounds pretty cool. Some of these extra options here for effects wise, they have master effects, but then they take it a step farther and go in your T effects here. You have distortion, lo-fi, filter, panner, and delay. And all of these can be triggered via your keyboard and MIDI controller with these red keys down here. And you'll see the visual representation here with the F6. Let's go ahead and start with the first key down here. And each key is actually following the next effect in line. I'm going to choose the filter here. I want to adjust the cutoff down just a tad. You can kind of hear how it's being sequenced right now. And what's happening here is actually going on under the hood. If we look in the advanced section, you have a sequencer that you can program in unique patterns. And let's go ahead and activate it. can actually see that there. Let's go ahead and turn up the rate. You even have range and smoothness to adjust how it activates from each of these individual segments here. You can kind of hear how it's getting choppy versus smooth, and it kind of glides. The smoothness kind of glides from each segment. It's really nice. You can even draw in your own pattern, however you need to. And currently I'm playing with the low filter type. I can even play with the high as well. And while this is pretty dramatic, you can actually add in however much you need at any given time. Let's go ahead and jump back and look at some of the lo-fi. Add a little bit of an LFO. Adds a little bit of bit destruction there. It's kind of nice. You can go crazy, crunch it, go up about 10K or even higher. Add a little bit of grit and extra analog type style of lo-fi to your audio. Over on the right side here, they even take it a step farther and give you an individual loop EQs for each individual key here. Even the master, you can adjust low frequencies. For those unique moments that you want to kind of pinpoint a specific frequency. And on the right side here, you have low pass, high pass, band pass, vowel, and formants. And each of these, once they're activated, you can actually choose an LFO rate, sync it with your project, apply the amount, and even choose what kind of LFO you want. Adjust the frequency. Even have volume envelopes to control how this particular filter is being affected. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at how these are laid across the keyboard. You can actually hear some other things that are going on inside that loop. So what they've done here is gives you these breakout menus. And each individual breakout menu here is set up and zoned so that you can actually trigger those stems inside that loop. So starting with this first black key here, which is the full loop, you can actually take individual stems from that. Let's say you like this one and maybe this. You can now mix and match any of these stems however you want to in your composition. Let's look at what this mutator is down here in the performance section. And what they've done here is allow you to take each individual stem even a step farther than that. So you look at this performance here and just press one of these keys. So that's the original. Let's turn on the performance. And let's go ahead and look under the hood here at what this is actually doing in the mutator section. You have 3 individual tabs: velocity, length, and loop. And just like before in the T effects, we have a sequencer going on and running up here. Let's turn this down to 4 real quick so you can kind of get a better feel for it. I'm going to turn it down to about 1 pattern. And each one of these is a loop across the keys in your zones. So right here, let me just kind of draw in my own pattern and we'll create a new loop. So now you can kind of see, you can take and create these stems and create new loops from the loops that are given here. You actually see the pattern changing every single pattern here. So you can actually have up to 8 individual unique patterns. Let's go ahead and draw in our own on number 2 here. Let's just let it rise, kind of randomize here. Fill them all the way across. So this is an incredibly powerful tool to mutate and change your loops and make completely new loops and new creations from all of this content. Alright, so in this part, we're going to be exploring the kits side of the Ethnic Drums collection. And inside these kits here, as opposed to the loops collection, we have individual drum hits now laid across the keys. And each individual drum hit here has 3 channels, and on these channels are individual samples. And all 3 of these layer together, and you can even mix in and create a full rich drum hit. On these channels, they have individual tune and pan knobs, so you can mix and you can tune to your composition. Along with the master effects like we explored in the loops, we have T-effects and equalizer. But what they do with the kits has this added option called the stage. Let's go ahead and dive in there real quick. The stage tab now allows you to build across a stage how you want your listener to feel these impacts of the drums. You can experiment with different drum positions. And you'll notice each hit holds its own position. So now you have the freedom to decide and position each drum hit to impact your listener however you see fit. Alright, so the next up, let's explore some of the new sounds. Maybe some snappy thin. Some hardcore. And let's add some heavy bottom ensemble. Inside the kits, you have the multis folder, and inside the multi you have an advanced work setup where you can stack multiple instances of various ensembles. Like, let's say you have low-end drums, and then you have your mid drums and your high drums, and you can stack these and control these with your MIDI controller. And you can actually, if you have multiple MIDI interfaces, you can now control on port A, 1, 2, and 3 on up to 16 different devices. Or if you have a keyboard that can zone out, you can actually set up and customize zones. So you can have port 2 here, maybe port 3 on this one, and control all individual instruments and compose low, heavy bottom, the frame. You can actually just keep scrolling here. There's multiple instances here that you can actually take advantage of. Very advanced setup and ready to take to the next level. And if you haven't yet, check out the website at heavyocity.com. They've got tons of awesome products there, such as the ensemble drums and the DM307 Eon collection, tech specs about the ethnic drums that we were just looking at. Hopefully this was helpful for you guys. Have a great day, and thanks for watching.